Yes, full screen.
Okay.
Good to go.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am Nathalie Bozabalian. I am from EPLFM, Entente pour la forêt méditerranéenne, and I am the project, the TCP4 leader. So the TCP4 has for aim to manage natural hazard and technological accident. We choose to focus on two relevant natural disasters common to Mediterranean countries. So the first is wildland urban interface fire that have a major risk of many dimension fire in firefighting. And the second one is flash flood events that are among the most important hazards in Mediterranean area. We perform two workshops that allow us to identify 20 capability gaps. We perform a thorough analysis on those gaps, and we could identify the technological attributes that are part of the open call for solution and ideas. The open call for solution and ideas was launched in November last year, and we call for the solution provider, policymakers, and so on to provide us with solutions and also ideas to answer to those identified gaps. We had 9 gaps for the wildland urban interface fire and 11 for the flash flood events. So here we have an overview of the identified gap for the UI. We put them in 4 themes. The first theme is about prevention and preparedness. So what we could identify that we have a lack of prevention plan, also a lack of specific knowledge of fire behavior in this specific space of interface with urban interface. In the communication and awareness theme, we could identify that we have an inadequate perception of fire risk by people, and also a lack of reliable information in crisis communication. In the rescue theme, we could identify that we don't have an interoperable system among the stakeholders, and also a shortage in fire suppression means that need to be specific for UI. Also, we had difficulties in evacuating people. For the last theme about resilience, we could identify some limitation in in-place sheltering, and also difficulties in deploying innovative tools that is common to a lot of natural hazard management. For the flood event, we identify 4 phases, and for the first one, for forecast and alert, we could identify that we need to improve information to authorities and also the awareness to population about flash flood. Also, there is a need to improve the weather forecast accuracy and also the tracking of the event during the natural hazard. On the rescue phase, we identify there is a need for real-time situational awareness and also a need to fully exploit the Earth observation and aerial means during the event management. There is also a need for adapted rescue means and a need also for resilient communication means that are very often destroyed during flash flood and other natural hazards. Also, there is a need for a standardized information sharing. It is a little bit like interoperability between stakeholders. On the prevention phase, we identify that there is a real need to archive past events in a standardized format to make them available for the stakeholders. And in the preparedness phase, we identify there is a need for specific rescue plan and also a need for a better exploitation of the lesson learned. So the cycle of civil selection are of 3 phases. The first is communication and awareness, the second is rescue to population, and the third one is prevention and preparedness for the next step. So we try to merge the capability gap for the two previous STEM, but VUI and flash flood, to merge them and to make common gap, to identify the common gap. So for the communication and awareness, we could identify that for both events that are fire, VUI fire, and also a flash flood event, that there was a lack of awareness of the population, and also a lack of right perception of the danger. Also, the communication toward the population, it's a main concern. Also, there is a need for a better knowledge of the phenomena for the both events, and also that this will allow to improve the flash flood alert for both spatially and temporally. So that's what we could merge from the two events. For the rescue phase to the population, there is a need for a common, standardized, automatical, and also real-time situation decision support system. That will be a dream for all the stakeholders, I think, but we can dream. We are here for that. Also, there is a need for a specific rescue and evacuation operational means for both hazards. So we need to adapt the operational means for the natural hazard, for specific natural hazard. Also, there is a need for the resilient communication system that will be resilient in case of natural hazard, especially for flash flood. For the third phase of the rescue of the event, there is the prevention of the preparedness. We could identify that there is a need to develop prevention rescue plan that will use lesson learned from the past event for both hazard. So stakeholder could identify that most of the time the lessons learned are not really taken into account. So there is a need to develop those plans using the past event. And also we could identify that there is a need to improve the procedure to deploy innovative tools. It's not so easy to propose innovative tools for natural hazard management. And also a very important point is to develop an efficient archiving of past event tool, and also to make those past event data accessible to the practitioner. So I'm done with my presentation, and if you have any question, maybe we can wait at the end of the session for the question. Thank you.
Many thanks, Nathalie. I'm now passing the floor to Georgios Sakas,